All right, so returning to this, I just put this raster rainbow layer overlay on it. I can customize my rainbow. I can change out the colors. Maybe make it a little bit more subtle. What I like is it shows you the one that you went from. Which can be helpful. And you adjust their proportions. Right? And so now that I have that, I can select it, select its inverse, and then paint it in with the gradation again. I don't know if I want that A to be different or not. Yeah, I think I like that. It's very readable. So readability is important. Lastly, we have this texture fill, which got a little overdone. We've got it in a few places. So we've got this grunge texture that I can put and move now. It's an EPS vector file. Whoops. I can move it down. Don't want to auto-select, just want that grunge filter. I can move that now over my cloud. And then I can play with its layer styles. And this is largely to help it contrast from whatever background we choose. So if I like how that grunge texture plays over just my cloud, then I go to my cloud vector layer, I select the empty space around it, I select the inverse, and then I copy that from my EPS, and then turn off the EPS grunge behind. And then maybe move it down beneath. Yeah, there we go. Down beneath a lot of the parts of my illustration, so it's not overlapping it like that. And then I can play with the opacity of it, the color of it. I could even steal the effects I used on the grunge that I'm using on my spot illustration, which is here. So if I wanted to, I could just steal those effects. How do I steal them? I duplicate it, and then I drag them down to the other layer. So we have a lot going on. I think it's this one. Yep. So now, it's the same, and then I can decide if I want it to be the same or not. And I might change its blending mode so it's more subtle, or so that it doesn't affect the black line behind it. It would be best probably to put it on multiply mode. And if I need to, and it looks like I might need to, need to make a duplicate of my cloud and put it over the top of my effects, and then turn off everything but the stroke. Oh, and make it multiply. No, let's see. I'm going to have to rasterize this, because blending styles don't work on effects the same way. But now that I've rasterized it, I can get rid of the interior of my cloud. In fact, I want to rasterize even these effects. So what do? Turn off everything except for the color overlay and the stroke. And this is a nice trick if I want to rasterize the effects, because I want to select just that black outline on its own. I duplicate the effect layer, and then I select them both, and then I merge them together by doing Command E, merge layers, and that will rasterize the effects into an actual pixels. Now then I can select the empty space in the cloud and delete it, so that I have just that solid black outline over the top of my grunge. So there's a lot of like individual little solutions you have to come up with sometimes to get what you're trying to do. So just to get that to happen, then I want to take my grunge down even a little bit more subtle. And I think I am good for my spot illustration with my text. And notice the only thing that the grunge isn't filtering over is the black line work. That's on top of it all, right? And the letters themselves. So that helps give the letters this kind of dominance, even though they're not outlined in black like everything else is. Of course, if I wanted to outline the letters in black, that would not be hard to do. I would simply turn on a stroke on one of my vector layers, do it on the outside, and put it in. So now we have so many different colors going on in that type, so many different layers, probably too many, but all options you can play with. Yeah, I don't think I actually want that. Though maybe a drop shadow would be nice. An additional drop shadow. It's a little bit darker. So you can layer up effects as well. Okay, so I'm going to save this as my PSD file. What is helpful to save before I come up with a poster background? I think it is helpful to save it as a new PNG that has type in it. So file, save as, assignment 8 spot illustration with type, or with text, as a PNG, background turned off, to the desktop. And that allows me to go to a site like Redbubble, where I put up just my spot illustration before, and I can make products with it with the text. So if I go to add new work, I grab it from the desktop once it saves. Photoshop takes a little while to save PNGs. I'm not sure why, but that's been true of the last few versions. Then I can get there. To remind you of what you can do with Redbubble once you have a high quality PNG, and my digital file is over 1 gigabyte now on this spot illustration. But you can put it up and you can get all kinds of different things. So I really like the stickers. That's why I like Redbubble. But there are all these different products, right, that you can play with, like the pillows, the clock. This one made a pretty good clock. There are dresses, ladies. Beautiful. Complex dresses and chiffon shirts. And all of this from just one high quality PNG file, right? You can kind of customize background colors and size, and you can even set it as a repeated pattern. Look at that. So spot illustrations are wonderfully versatile. But now, for a t-shirt, maybe I think this t-shirt's a little plain. And I would really like to have that text underneath it. So let's upload this one. Right? And while that's uploading, I can look for poster backgrounds. just put design in. See what that gives me. Now, because these are going to be raster, web found files, you'll have lots of like paper, sunburst. I want to limit it based on size, and I want it to be larger than 10 megapixels. Now, sometimes it's just good to keep it simple. I like kind of chalkboard ones. But if you want something really digital and clean, there are definitely options you can modify. We can also make our own. This one's kind of nice. And these are all big enough. If you want just kind of old paper, there's lots of versions of that. But what's going to suit your message, right? And a lot of them are honestly just a little too busy visually. But you can layer up a few. Oh, and then this one's quite nice. A little low sunburst. Now, of course, we've gone back to just stealing other people's pixels. So why is this allowed? When is this allowed? It's allowed when you make it unrecognizable, when you transform it into your own. So make sure this is high quality. Yes, that's high quality. So that's going to be one background texture I might use. See if this is high quality. Viewing the image on its own. See if this is high quality. Very nice. Very high. That might be one I use. So we get to play with some compositing. And if they make you redirect, just don't bother. If they make you go to a different site, just don't bother with them. Yeah, so that one's going to make me download it from a wallpaper site. I don't want to deal with that. This is the one I was waiting on. And look, there's a whole site where you can download a collection of backgrounds for posters. But you don't want the background to outshine your work. So I'm just going to keep these two, keep it simple. All right, so now let's see how Redbubble is doing before I close this. There I go, it's there, looks good. It already puts it in, all these options. But I'm really only interested in a t-shirt for right now. Disable stickers, you gotta love stickers. Disable these others. But you can have a lot of fun playing with this. They make some fierce leggings, these spot illustrations. I've yet to meet anyone that's actually bought leggings from online. Seems like something you want to try on first, but I don't judge. It'd be interesting. Well, it is funny, like just about 7 years ago, in 1 year I was approached twice by fashion designers wanting to use stuff from my portfolio for their collections. And I guess they were kind of seeing this coming. And so now it's on all these sites where you can just create your own fashion collections, basically. And some people design specifically for textile design and for scarf design. And so that's what they're really selling. So I'll do this later, but now I have this up there. Okay, so let's finish off. How do I bring these backgrounds in? How do I make a poster? Well, first I want to figure out the proportions. Do I want my poster to be horizontal, vertical? I think I want this to be like an album cover. So I'm going to go to my canvas size, and I'm going to make sure it's square. So it's 14 by 14 inches square. So then I might crop it a little differently. Instead of trying to rearrange all my layers, I'm just going to crop it, make it a little bit taller. There we go. And now I'm going to go to my background layers, go on top of my black, and bring in these backgrounds.